Good afternoon. We are bringing you commentary of Bournemouth against Southampton today from the FA Cup quarter-final stage. I'm your host, Russ Vernon, and we are joined by our alternative commentator, Matt Iles, and we are listening to Football Commentary Live. Some great commentaries coming up today. I'll be presenting all the coverage from all of the three matches that we've got coming up this afternoon and going into this evening. First up, we've got this game between AFC Bournemouth and Southampton from the Vitality, which has been played at the Vitality Stadium. Matt Iles standing by in another studio here, Football Commentary Live HQ. Then at 5:30, we've got Jack Cunningham who will be standing by to bring us commentary on Everton versus Manchester City from the quarter-final stage of the FA Cup. And then this evening, at 8 o'clock, join Mike Orneman for Brighton against Newcastle in a big battle at the bottom of the Premier League table. Leeds got their first win in London last night, since December 2017, beating Fulham by 2-1. Patrick Bamford and Rafinha on target for the Whites, with Joachim Andersen getting on the score sheet for Fulham. Bit of sad news coming out of Leeds United this morning, though, which is probably overshadowed the news of the victory for Leeds United last night. And that is that former Leeds United player Peter Lorimer sadly died at the age of 74 this morning after a long-term illness. Peter made 705 appearances for Leeds United over two spells and is the club's record goal scorer, having netted 238 times in all competitions. He made his Leeds United debut back in September, on Saturday 29th of September 1962 against Southampton at Ellen Road at the age of just 15 years and 289 days, making him still the youngest ever player to have played for the first team. He sadly passed away this morning, and Leeds, in a statement, says, following his retirement from playing, Peter became an ambassador for Leeds United and continued to attend matches up and down the country. He was a contributor with his own page in the club's matchday programme, continuing until last month's match with Aston Villa, where he became unwell enough to do so. Peter's contribution to Leeds United will never be forgotten, and his passing leaves a huge hole in the Leeds United family. He will remain a club icon, and his legacy at Ellen Road will live on. Our thoughts are naturally with Peter's wife Sue and the rest of his family at this difficult time. And from everyone here, our Football Commentary Live, rest in peace, Peter Hotshot Lorimer. Gone, but never forgotten. Another one of the Leeds United Don Revie era sadly passed away in the last few weeks and months. And that's a bit of sad news coming out of Leeds United, which has probably overshadowed the win last night. Well, let's take nothing away from the game last night. Leeds' first win in London since 2017, when Kimo Roof netted an hat-trick for the Whites away at QPR. But that bit of sad news reached us earlier this morning. I thought I'd just give that a mention here on Football Commentary Live. You're listening to Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentary. Why not visit our Facebook page, the best way to follow Football Commentary Live. Go to facebook.com/footcomlive. Also, don't forget you can follow Football Commentary Live on Twitter. The Twitter handle for that is a Commentary Live 1. And kickoff is just under 5 minutes. Just over 5 minutes away now here from the Vitality Stadium, where Bournemouth are taking on Southampton. Standing by in a new studio area, Football Commentary Live HQ, is Matt Iles. And good afternoon, Matt. How are you doing today? You okay, mate?
I'm very well, thank you, Russ. I'm really looking forward to this FA Cup quarter-final clash that I'm about to be commentating on for this afternoon.
Yeah, so we've got another game tomorrow where John Kane brings you Aston Villa versus Tottenham in the Premier League at 7:30. And then why not join us on Thursday as well, guys, for the start of the UEFA Under-21 European Championships, where we're covering the England matches starting off at 2 o'clock on Thursday as England take on Switzerland. I'll be your man, bringing you all the coverage, presenting and doing the pundit and doing the commentary as well for that game. Make sure you stay tuned here to Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentary. And man, looking ahead to this game, how do you see this game going? Who do you reckon will come out on top?
Well, Southampton aren't in the greatest form themselves coming into this. Obviously, 10 defeats in 12 Premier League games. Obviously, Bournemouth have been, in 2021, a little bit stuttering and obviously outside the playoff places. Both sides really want this. It's a big, big game. South Coast derby. I could see it being a tight affair. I don't think there's going to be a lot of goals in it. So I could see a 1-0 either way. I really do fancy Bournemouth to cause a shock and get into the FA Cup semi-finals. But also, there's a part of me that thinks if Southampton are professional with the lineup they've got, I think they've got every chance of beating them. So it's going to be a close contest for me today. It's very close to call.
Yes, and looking to the one later on today as well, Bournemouth. No Bournemouth. Everton against Manchester City. Who do you reckon is going to come out on top in that one, which Jack Cunningham is going to be bringing for us later on this evening?
It's an interesting game, isn't it, Russ? I mean, obviously, all these FA Cup games this weekend are very, very close to call, you could say. Obviously, Chelsea-Sheffield United is probably going to be the one where you think Chelsea come out on top. But, Everton are very capable of playing against, very capable of playing their game against the bigger side. They've seen that against Liverpool and Chelsea, respectively, this season. Man City, as we know, so dominant, fighting for the quadruple. As we know, City can play the way they play and put their minds to it. They'll win the game quite comfortably, but Everton will be looking to just try and catch them out on any sort of errors that they make. So again, it's a really close game to call, but the way City play and the way they have probably played since November, you wouldn't put it past them to go and win the game and be in the last four come sort of 7:30, 8 o'clock tonight.
Yes, and if you just look at, you've already mentioned that you think Chelsea are going to get through against Sheffield United. I think everyone will think that's a foregone conclusion, but you never know with Sheffield United. They seem to have done well in the FA Cup and may bring a surprise. But looking at the other, and the final one, which is being played tomorrow at 5 o'clock, Leicester City against Manchester United. Who do you reckon is going to come out on top in that one tomorrow, the King Power?
Again, it's too close to call, isn't it? United buoyed by the fact that they beat Milan on Thursday in the Europa League. Unbeaten away from home in the Premier League. They're better away than they are at home. Leicester strong at home. Very difficult opposition for anyone in the Premier League. So it's again, a real close game. And I think that could be a game that really does go the distance. It's too close to call. But, of course, I've said a winner for all the other ties. I'm going to go with Man United just to shade. I think that they can manage the game well. And, mentally, they do just seem to get over the line in these games, especially away from home.
Yes, and switching our attention briefly, just as the teams are on the way out and out on the field, we had a kick-off here, which is in a 12:15, so we'll be finished before then. But just a quick one. Looking at the game tonight, Brighton against Newcastle, both teams needing the points to pull themselves away from the relegation places. Fulham on 26 points, Brighton just 3 points above them, Newcastle just 2 points above them. How do you see that game going later on this evening?
Big game, isn't it? I mean, Brighton and Newcastle aren't the heaviest of scorers in the division. Brighton scored 2 last week against Southampton, which was sort of the first they've done in 11 games. Newcastle, as we know, very tough to play against, very resolute at times under Steve Bruce. It is a relegation 6-pointer, and obviously with Leeds doing both those sides a favour last night and beating Fulham, it's opened the door for one of them to create a bit of a gap between themselves and the drop zone. So it's a huge game for both. And I think it'll probably be a draw. I know it's a bit easy to sit on the fence in a game like that, but, 1 was probably a fair result for me, and I think probably will be the result on the night.
Yes, and that's all we've got time for in the build up to this one with Matty, for to ask you for a score prediction for this game this afternoon between Bournemouth and Southampton. What would you say, mate?
I'm going to go with a 2-1 Southampton win, and they'll do it in normal time. It'll be a tough game, as I've said. Two, sides, going at each other, and both sort of giving each other the respect that they deserve. It'll be a good cup tie. I think it'll probably get a lot more better sort of reviews than what a lot of people are probably thinking. It'll be a better game than what some are saying. So I'm going to go with Southampton to win 2-1.
And that's all we've got time for the kick-off in this game. So I'm going to hand you over now to your match commentator, Matt Iles, who will talk us through the first 45 minutes.
Thank you very much, Ross. So this is a South Coast derby, 33 miles between the two sides. It's Championship against Premier League, and Bournemouth are the only side still standing from the second tier as they look to stop Southampton going into the semi-finals, and they look to be the first Championship side in 6 years to be an FA Cup semi-finalist. Let's run through the two starting lineups. Bournemouth make 2 changes to the side that beat Swansea 3-0 at the Vitality Stadium on Tuesday. Asmir Begovic is in goal. Back 4 of Jack Stacey, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Steve Cook and Diego Rico. Jack Wilshere is in midfield alongside Ben Pearson, replaces Jefferson Lerma, who's suspended. So he comes in his place. Philip Billing is also in the team. Arnaud Danjuma, Dominic Solanke and Rodrigo Riquelme are the 3 attackers for Bournemouth. He replaces Junior Stanislas, who is sidelined for Bournemouth. The substitutes for Bournemouth, they've got a lot of academy players on the bench, haven't they? Including Mark Travers, Jordan Zamura, Chris Mepham, Gavin Kilkenny, Jaden Anthony, Christian Sadie, Sam Surridge and Nathan Mariah Welsh. As we get underway here, as this is the first of 4 FA Cup matches from this weekend. Who will be the first side through to the semi-finals in April? Will it be the Saints who go marching in to the semi-finals, or will it be the Cherries who will be hopefully enjoying a sweet, sweet victory this afternoon? As an early touch for Yannick Vestergaard. I'll just go through the Southampton team quickly. 2 changes for them today. Fraser Forster is in goal. Kyle Walker-Peters, Yannick Vestergaard, Jan Bednarek and Ryan Bertrand at the back 4. Here's Arnaud Danjuma for Bournemouth as he gives it to Ben Pearson. Now Diego Rico. His pass is blocked off Kyle Walker-Peters, and then it's sent up for a throw by Jan Bednarek, the Polish centre-back. Ibrahima Jalo and James Ward-Prowse are the 2 in midfield. It looks like Stuart Armstrong is on the right-hand side with Musa Genepo, and then the 2 up front of Che Adams and Nathan Redmond in what is a 4-4-2 formation. And just as I was reading out the rest of the Saints team, Diego Rico put a ball in that was easily dealt with by Fraser Forster. And the Southampton subs include Alex McCarthy, Jack Stevens, Mohamed Salisu, Kane Ramsey, Alexandre Yankovic, Caleb Watts, Will Ferry, Nathan Teller and Dan Lundulu, who of course has got experience of scoring in the FA Cup this season. We've played over 90 seconds here in the first of the FA Cup quarterfinals. It is Bournemouth 0, Southampton 0, and that's a lovely ball by Vestergaard, which sees Walker-Peters break through the Bournemouth line. He gives it to Armstrong, who's in the Bournemouth box now. He got it on his left foot, but then rolled it onto his right. Still has the ball at his feet, clips it to the back post. Genepo heads it down. Here's Jalo. He drills the shot in, but it is well off target and is seen out of play by Asmir Begovic. And I think that might have took a nick of a Bournemouth player, and Southampton have got the first corner of the game this afternoon. Well, Martin Atkinson was well placed to make that call. It did take a nick of a Bournemouth player, so they've got a bit of defending to do. Remember, Saints aren't afraid to score a set piece. Yannick Vestergaard in particular has got 3 goals this season. Jan Bednarek has scored 1. So it's the first real bit of defending the Championship side have got to do. Corner's taken short by Ward-Prowse. Redmond receives it, tried to give it back to Ward-Prowse, who unfortunately was ahead of the ball when Redmond tried to give it back to him. And it's a Bournemouth goal kick. Well, Ward-Prowse, of course, who's in the England squad for the upcoming qualifiers, was back on side as he was trying to get it back from Nathan Redmond. But he was, as I said, not on the same wavelength as Nathan Redmond. He's one of 2 changes in the Southampton lineup today. He replaces Nathan Teller, who drops to the bench. Asmir Begovic with the kick, and he kicks it straight out of play for a Southampton throw. Well, both these sides have got their injury problems. Bournemouth in particular are missing several key first-team players. Lewis Cook's out for the remainder of the season after rupturing a cruciate ligament in a game a few weeks ago. They've also got missing Lloyd Kelly and Junior Stanislas. Jefferson Lerma suspended. Shane Long, of course, is on loan from Southampton. He's cup-tied, so that is a few of their first-team players missing that would most certainly not just be on the bench, but involved from the start. Of course, Adam Smith is also unavailable, along with the Welsh winger David Brooks, who it does seem will be back after the international break as Che Adams goes down looking for a foul. Ralph Hasenhüttl just tugs to the fourth official to say there was a slight pull by a Bournemouth player. And obviously, Southampton, like Bournemouth, they've got their problems themselves. A few first-team players missing. Genepo wins it off Redmond. Now on the edge of the box here with Adams. Now Jallo's gone forward quite a lot in the opening 4 minutes of this game. It's well blocked by the Bournemouth midfield. Here's Philip Billing, the Dane who scored in 3-0 win over Swansea. Wins a throw as it bounces off Ibrahima Jallo and out for a Bournemouth throw. As we've played the first 5 minutes of this contest, you're listening to Bournemouth versus Southampton from the game at the Vitality Stadium. Listening to it live on Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentary. Here is Ben Pearson. Tried to knock it forward, but it bounced off Ibrahima Jallo. Now Steve Cook, Bournemouth's longest serving player. Been there 9 years. Was bought when the club was languishing in mid-table in League One. What a rise he's had alongside the club in that time. Billing holds off Ward-Prowse. Now he's bringing it forward. Here's Arno Danjuma, scored in his last 3 games for the Cherries. And he manages to play it out to the right. Here is now Jack Stacey, gets the cross in. It's bounced off Moussa Genepo. And the Malian has conceded a corner for Bournemouth. It was nice play there by Philip Billing. He made that run, held off the Southampton midfield. Ward-Prowse. He gave it to Danjuma. He played a lovely ball out to the right. Jack Stacey looked up, wanted to put the ball in. It was well blocked by Genepo, to be fair. So Southampton couldn't make their corner count. What can Bournemouth do from their first one of this FA Cup quarter-final match? It's going to be taken from the right-hand side. As Bournemouth have got 5 players in there. Cook and Solanke the targets. It's delivered in. It's away by Stuart Armstrong. Cook flicking it back on, but it can only flick through to Fraser Forster, wearing an all light blue kit. And he takes it quickly to Che Adams, who's playing down that right-hand side as he tried to get that ball under control, but is unable to do so. As Fraser Forster just couldn't quite take the pace off it. And the throw-in is taken quickly. Here's Steve Cook in his own half. Plays it to Jack Wilshere, who was a 3-time winner of this competition with Arsenal. He won it in 2014, 15 and 2017. Such is the calibre of his name that it is a surprise to see him playing in the Championship. Billing and Danjuma trying to do a give and go, but it's been given away. Danjuma left one in on Ward-Prowse, but he did get the ball according to Martin Atkinson. But Bournemouth now come forward with it with Jack Stacey. It's Rodrigo Riquelme, the Atletico Madrid loanee, but it's a good challenge by Ryan Bertrand. Redmond tries to give it to Stuart Armstrong, but they're able to now have it in the midfield with Jallo, and now it's Vestergaard. Bournemouth quite happy to put the squeeze on the Saints and not allow them to play from the back as comfortably as they would like. That's a lovely ball by Walker-Peters to Armstrong down the right. Now to Adams. Tries to spin away from his man and then get the cross back in, but the first touch let him down as he was trying to get away from Steve Cook. And as a result, he slips and has given away a goal kick for the Cherries. Well, so far inside 8 minutes, it's no goals yet to really see any chances. Both sides have started with a real intensity and a real purpose to this game that they do want to get the early goal. They're not trying to settle in at all. They both want to try and take the game to one another. For Bournemouth, this is only the second time in their entire existence that they've actually made the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. And the only time they did that was back in 1957 under Freddie Cox. So Jonathan Woodgate is only the second manager in Bournemouth's history to do so in that time, in a short space of time, in what is only his 12th game in charge of the Championship club. Zenebo had been put under pressure by Bournemouth players, and now he's giving it away to Arnaud Danjuma. Diego Rico's up in support in the box. The pass was a little bit short. Kyle Walker-Peters steps in there, and then it bounces off Diego Rico and out for a Southampton goal kick. Yeah, Zenebo put under pressure. Bournemouth's pressing has been really evident to see from early on. And he gives it to Rico there, and it was not the greatest ball. He plays it to him side on. He's got to play it through to Rico so he can run onto it. And then obviously Walker-Peters was able to come out and deal with the danger pretty comfortably, to be fair to him. And in the end, nothing comes of it. It's Fraser Forster, who's played every game in the FA Cup so far this season. The Saints are yet to concede in this competition. They've beaten 2 Premier League sides in the 3 matches they've played. They beat Arsenal in round 4, the holders. And of course, they beat Wolves 2-0 at Molineux, which was a fine win for them. And it's a competition that Rolf Hasenhüttl has taken very, very seriously, the Austrian coach. It's the furthest they've gone in his 2 seasons. They were knocked out in round 3 in 2019 by Derby, and then round 4 back in the 2019-20 campaign. It's a lovely ball out to Walker-Peters, who's broke through. He's in on goal. He squares it to Che Adams, but it's an own goal by Cameron Carter-Vickers. And we have the opening goal of this FA Cup tie. And it's not the first time that Kyle Walker-Peters has broken through Bournemouth's high line. He decided against shooting in, looked to play it to Che Adams, but it didn't find Adams, and instead it's diverted into his own net by a Bournemouth player and Cameron Carter-Vickers. It is Bournemouth 0, Southampton 1, and it's the Saints who strike first in this South Coast derby. That's a beautiful ball out to Kyle Walker-Peters. They're going to check for offside here between him and Diego Rico. Well, he looks onside to me. I think that's a pretty legitimate goal, but Rico's too narrow. He's just maintaining that line, isn't he? There's fine margins in it, of course, as the lines are getting drawn on the VAR screen. Well, it looks to be that the goal is not going to stand. So Bournemouth have been given a reprieve by VAR, and in particular David Coote. So goal chalked off. No own goal for Cameron Carter-Vickers. And it stays at 0-0. But that is a warning sign. As I said, that's the second time that Southampton have managed to play a ball from deep in their own half, right all the way through down the Bournemouth left. Kyle Walker-Peters got in behind, and Diego Rico was far too narrow, completely square ball watching, and he was effectively in and played the ball to Che Adams before it was diverted into his own net by Carter-Vickers. And Walker-Peters, the man in question, has to put that out for a throw-in. So the first element of VAR being used, not just in this game, but this weekend in the FA Cup, potentially has seen a goal chalked off for Southampton. And it's fine margins, but he did look like that maybe his elbow was just creaking offside when seeing the replays. But that is what VAR is brought in for at the end of the day, being there to make those decisions. Bournemouth thrown, they have it in their own half with Carter-Vickers. Here's Jack Wilshere. Out to the right with Jack Stacey. Billing couldn't quite get the first touch right. Stepping in there is Yannick Vestergaard. Bertrand plays it down the line to Adams. Tries to give it to Redmond. Adams has it once more, and he's sprayed it out to the right with Armstrong, who's really got the pace to keep that ball in there. And then good defending there by Diego Rico, the Spaniard, who's able to play the ball forward, intent for Arnaud Danjuma. And it's a Bournemouth throw-in via a Walker-Peters deflection. We're up to 13 minutes of this FA Cup quarter-final. It's Bournemouth 0, Southampton 0 in the first of these FA Cup quarter-finals. The second one being brought to you later on as Jack Cunningham makes his football commentary live debut as Everton take on Manchester City. The side, of course, in Man City chasing the quadruple. Join him and Russ Vernon, who's on presenting duties for that. And, of course, we're bringing you an instalment from the Premier League. That relegation six-pointer is Brighton take on Newcastle from the Amex, of course. Buoyed by the fact, both of them, that Leeds United did a huge favour by beating Fulham, as it's potentially going to help one of those sides in their quest to stay in the Premier League. Armstrong and Redmond playing 1-2 of each other. And then eventually Southampton send the ball up the pitch, but Jack Stacey knocks it back to Begovic, who just clears it away at the first time of asking. Dom Solanke wins the aerial duel between him and Polish defender Jan Bednarek, who, of course, will be, you'd expect, facing England over the next few weeks in the World Cup qualifiers. Is Nathan Redmond drifting in from the right, gets the cross in low, cut out by Cook, who clears it out for a Southampton throw. But that is where the throw has been for the Saints, down that Bournemouth left. Walker Peters in particular has been very mobile up and down this area of the pitch this afternoon. As he tries to take the throw, he completely made a mess of it. Will attempt to legitimately throw it this time, and he is successful. Armstrong's away from Pearson, gets away as if he's not there. Low cross to the edge of the box. It's come to Bertrand, who hits it on his left foot at the first time of asking. But as he arrived on it, the shot is off target. But good play by Stuart Armstrong to set the chance up. Yeah, it really was. He just skips away from Pearson. He looks up, plays a lovely ball to the edge of the box. You just see the Bournemouth midfield too, just maintain that line, just right in front of the defence, who sat very, very deep, right on this 6-yard box, if you like, on Begovic's goal. And it comes to Bertrand. He's arriving on it quick, and obviously took it first time and put it wide of the goal. He's a former Bournemouth loanee, Ryan Bertrand. He's a real stalwart in this Saints side and has been since he arrived back in 2014 under Ronald Koeman. So he's a player that Southampton really have turned to over the last few years. Forward was the ball for Dom Solanke. 11 goals for him this season, but he's unable to get it under control. As Southampton have it in midfield with Ibrahima Jallo. Bertrand with the ball forward. Genepo slips. As Cameron Carter-Vickers is there to knock it to Jack Stacey. They knock it forward, looking for Solanke. Vestergaard with the clip forward. Up in the air once again by Bournemouth and Stacey this time. Vestergaard and Solanke competing. And Vestergaard just volleys it with his left foot out for a Bournemouth throw-in right in front of the technical area that Jonathan Woodgate is currently stood in alongside his coaching staff of Gary O'Neill and Stephen Purchase, who, of course, he inherited from Jason Tyndall's reign. Begovic gets it from Carter-Vickers' pass in his own half. Solanke thought it was impeded there by Yannick Vestergaard, but Southampton come away with it. Martin Atkinson says there was nothing wrong with that. Jallo, forward ball. Adams will chase with Steve Cook, the Bournemouth captain, who just sends it high into the air. And then Solanke is unable to get under control. We've seen in the last 2 or 3 minutes the ball be in the air a considerable amount of time. You saw a lot of the play go on the floor in the opening sort of 10 minutes, but the last 5 minutes or so, as I've said, the ball has just been probably in the air a little bit too much. And it is in the air once again. There's a crossfield ball to Walker Peters as he slips. Ben Pearson's there ready to pounce, but he can only kick it out for a throw in the former Preston midfielder. As we are 17 and a half minutes in, it is Bournemouth 0, Southampton 0 in this South Coast derby. 33 miles between these two sides. Bournemouth, of course, lost the last game at the Vitality in the penultimate game of the Premier League, in which Southampton won. And the man who scored in that game, Che Adams, is on the ball now, but can't find another Saints player. And Armstrong goes down. Well, Armstrong, carried the ball forward. It was Wilshere that went down. And Redmond is the man who has fouled him. Free kick to Bournemouth. Yeah, he just sort of might just clip Wilshere's foot there as Wilshere got that away there on the edge of his own area. Here's Dan Juma to Saints players surround him. He looks to have got on the outside of Walker-Peters, who stands his ground superbly, the Southampton right back, and they come out from their own half with the ball. Jallo in a tight area on that left-hand side of his own area, but he's able to work his way out of the situation pretty well, to be fair. Here's James Ward-Prowse, heavy touch as Philip Billing was coming in on his blind side, but he just knocked it away in time, did the Southampton captain. Now Armstrong to Jan Bednarek. Forward to Redmond, who comes short for it. Good spin away. Now driving forward is Redmond through the middle of the pitch. Bounces away from Wilshere, but he couldn't get through. Steve Cook and Diego Rico, who both sandwiched it into him, if you like, to stop him going through. And Martin Atkinson, once again, has concluded that Dom Solanke isn't fouled. That's the second time that he's been looking for a free kick, and the referees just said play on. The back heel by Genepo, looking to get Bertrand back involved. But then it's knocked back to the keeper by Carter Vickers, and Begovic safely knocks it forward. Billing flicks it on. It's Solanke, though. If he looks to his left, he's got Danjuma. Couldn't quite get the touch right. Billing looking to race onto it nonetheless through the right. And then Southampton are able to defend it well with Vestergaard. Shea Adams now to Armstrong. There's a real fast pace, intensity to this game. Kyle Walker-Peters in the middle now to Armstrong, who's seen a lot of the play in the opening 20 minutes. Genepo goes on his left foot, looking to get around Stacey, who blocks his cross. And Southampton have got a corner down the Bournemouth left. But it's been a game in the opening 20 minutes. It's been frantic. And you've seen the ball not really go out of play a lot. Well, you can see the replay in front of me that Dom Solanke was competing with Bednarek there, but he was, as he won the header, it just looked like Bednarek just sort of leant into the back of him for Solanke to just sort of fall over the back of the Polish defender, if you like. So Southampton corner. Bertrand's going to take in swinging from that left-hand side on his left foot. Poor delivery away by Danjuma. Only heads it to the edge of the box with Armstrong, but it's a shot that he's not really got a hold of. Hits into the ground and it goes out of play for a Bournemouth goal kick. Oh, if you wanted to find us on our various social media pages, you can do so. You can follow us on Football Commentary. You can follow our Twitter page, rather, which is at Commentary Live 1. That is our Twitter handle. Or if not, you can just follow us on Facebook. Simply go to facebook.com/FootComLive. Here's Solanke. Can't get away from Vestergaard. It's a good challenge. Jack Wilshere then slid in, but Southampton still come away with it. It's Vestergaard wanted a free kick, but Martin Atkinson says play on. Is Armstrong to Jallo. Spreads the ball out to the left with Ryan Bertrand, who slips. And that's not the first Southampton player that's done that. Here is Nathan Redmond, who gives it away. Now Solanke. Can Bournemouth create something here? Is Danjuma. He loves to take on a player. Goes on the outside of Bednarek. Gets the shot away, but Fraser Forster's able to fist it away at his near post. And that's the first sighting of goal that we've seen Bournemouth have this afternoon. Well, just like that, they give it away in the midfield, and Solanke quickly lays it onto Danjuma. He loves getting that position, taking on his man on that left-hand side. Goes on the outside of Bednarek. He's not got a lot of room, and he's never going to beat Fraser Forster from there. The goalkeeper, as big as he is, just covers his angles and literally gives him as little room as possible. Rico couldn't quite give it to Philip Billing. Steve Cook on the ball for Bournemouth and goes all the way back to Begovic, who's come onto his 18-yard area to receive the ball. Wilshere, all the way back now to Asmir Begovic, who's back inside his box. 13 places separating these two, as it is currently goalless in the first FA Cup quarter-final. Remember, Everton, Manchester City is later on. Brought to you by Jack Cunningham on Football Commentary Live. Ross Vernon will be on presenting duties, as that's a really poor ball by Carter Vickers there. Wilshere early on went in with a real late challenge on Vestergaard. He did win the ball, but he did certainly go studs up on Vestergaard's ankle. But Martin Atkinson, who's not to my knowledge, actually had to step in to make a decision to give a free kick. He does do there as Ward-Prowse was pulled back. And Southampton win a free kick just inside the Bournemouth half. So up to 24 minutes here at the Vitality Stadium. Goalless it is between Championship Bournemouth and Premier League Southampton. 7th placed Bournemouth of the Championship and 14th placed Southampton of the Premier League. Direct ball out to the left by Bednarek. He picks out Genepo. Was he held on to by Jack Stacey? He was. It's a straightforward decision for Martin Atkinson to give, as Jack Stacey had his arms clambering all over Genepo's shoulders there, and it's a good position for James Ward-Prowse to whip this free kick in. Doesn't need to make that foul. He's tight enough as it is. He doesn't need to put his arms all over him. Just stand your ground, because the only thing you can do in that situation is just pass it back to Bertrand or a player in a white shirt. Of course, it is a change strip for Southampton in their all white away strip, as Bournemouth are in their traditional red and black striped shirts with black shorts and black socks. It is a Southampton free kick. Bertrand and Ward-Prowse both over this. 2 Bournemouth players in the wall. Rodrigo, Riquelme and Wilshere are in that wall. Ward-Prowse swings on his right foot. It's a really good teasing ball in, but it's defended well by Bournemouth. They're able to head it away, and then they're able to fully clear their lines as Walker Peters has to go back to Fraser Forster, who thought about going long, but then went short at the last minute. But luckily, there was no interception from a Bournemouth player. Genepo goes away from Carter Vickers, who fouls him. And that's a free kick once more to Southampton. Yeah, Genepo just tries to leave it, and Carter Vickers just comes across. He does go on his back ankle, if you like, and, Martin Atkinson, well placed to make that call. James Ward-Prowse once again over this free kick. Man who's known for his dead ball attributes. We've seen him score free kicks. We've also seen him make goals from those free kicks that he is so good at taking. It's quite centrally at this time. The last one was by the left-hand touch side. It is Ward-Prowse who goes for goal, but he's not catching Begovic cold, who's well on his toes to keep that out. Yeah, you think he was going to whip it in, but it is a good position to shoot from. He does like to really put a lot of whip on it and really send that into the corner. That was a pretty standard bit of goalkeeping for Asmir Begovic, to be fair. And with that, that's the Saints' first shot on target in the game. And it's taken them 26 minutes to do so. In a game that Rolf Hasenhüttl wants his team to progress in. It's probably the biggest game of the season, according to the Austrian. Of course, their run in the league has been wretched. 2021 has not been kind to the Saints. The FA Cup has been a real sort of competition that has provided them a platform to have a decent campaign in what's been a fairly mediocre Premier League campaign since sort of October, where, of course, they did sort of top the table. Here come Bournemouth, though, with Billing. He now goes out to Arnaud Danjuma. They're going to look to try and give the ball to it every possible turn. He's coming in from the left. Gives it to Billing. Danjuma gets it back. Just couldn't quite get the ball where he wanted to get the shot away. It almost just went away from him before he got it under control. Southampton are able to clear the danger and clear it all the way out for a throw-in inside Bournemouth's half. But Arnaud Danjuma has come into this in really good form, scoring in his last 3 games, 4 in his last 5. He's looking very, very sharp today for the Cherries and Jonathan Woodgate. Here is Cameron Carter-Vickers. Jack Stacey down the line to Riquelme, who's been a shadow so far in this game. It has been quite hard to see if he's actually been playing. It just shows that Bournemouth have been very predominant down the Southampton right-hand side and on their attacking left. 28 minutes gone. Bournemouth 0, Southampton 0. The first of the 4 FA Cup quarterfinals from this weekend. Of course, earlier on today, there was the sad news that Peter Lorimer, one of Leeds' greatest ever players, sadly passed away. The age of 74 following a long illness. Of course, it's overshadowed a really good win that they picked up against Fulham last weekend. And that's a foul by Jack Stacey on Genepo. He just went into his ankle. Genepo got that away. He's okay. He's moving about. Here is Bednarek to Ward-Prowse. Bournemouth's pressing has just slightly faded as the first half has sort of worn on. They are aware that if Southampton play through the press, they're very much in with a chance of getting through the Bournemouth line. And they did it so early on, remember, if you are just tuning in, Southampton did have a goal chalked off with Cameron Carter-Vickers putting into his own net after Kyle Walker-Peters broke through the line on the Bournemouth left, received it from a beautiful threaded high ball from Jan Bednarek, the Polish defender, and then played the ball in the box, looking for Che Adams, who, of course, is no stranger to scoring at the Vitality. And then, unfortunately, Cameron Carter-Vickers put the ball in his own net, but was flagged for offside, was Walker-Peters. And there's a Saints yellow card as Bednarek slipped as he went into the side of Arnaud Danjuma. Yeah, he just tries to win the ball. He was never going to win it. He just dangles a leg. In fact, he doesn't actually sip, I beg your pardon, but he just dangles that leg on Danjuma. It's a pretty straightforward decision for the referee to make. First yellow card of the game has been given to the Southampton centre-back. So Bournemouth have got a free kick fairly centrally as well. And Diego Rico is just spinning the ball in his hand as he's just trying to put it on the ground. It is one way you don't need a lot of pace on it. It's just about where you put it. He's gone toward the right-hand side. Adams can only head it to Cook, who'll draw it back in. And it's gone to Riquelme, who's hit it on the first time of asking, but unfortunately it was off target and no trouble for Fraser Forster. He goes out to the right. Adams heads it straight to Steve Cook. He tried to head it out for a throw-in, and he drills it back in, Cook. It's a really good ball back in. It comes to Riquelme. He just takes it on the first time of asking, and it's going well away from Fraser Forster's goal, but maybe on a different day, that might have been heading on target. And if he'd been central, certainly would have made Fraser Forster work, but he was on an angle when the ball sort of came into him. Last 15 minutes of this first half here at the Vitality Stadium. Goalless between Bournemouth and Southampton, as it's the only FA Cup game this weekend that is featuring two sides from two divisions. Of course, Chelsea, Sheffield United, Man United, Leicester, and Man City, Everton is three ties with all the six sides in question from the Premier League. And as I said at the top of the start of the commentary, Bournemouth looking to be the first side since Reading in 2015 to be an FA Cup semi-finalist from the second tier. So at the moment, they're hanging in there. They're certainly not out of this game, and they are well and truly in it. Billing heads it to Riquelme. Tried to just roll it forward, but it was a heavy one, which he rolled straight to Bill, and he was challenged, and it was kicked out of play by a Southampton player. Up to that Saints left-hand side. Throw and taken by Stacey. Solanke coming forward. Armstrong's all over him, putting him under real pressure. But he manages to keep his calm and play it back toward Cameron Carter-Vickers, the Tottenham loanee. Begovic with the kick forward. Vestergaard with the header away. Jalo tried to head it forward, but instead headed it behind. Solanke goes out to the left with Danjuma. Is just hugging that left-hand touchline, the Dutch winger. Here is Jack Wilshere, Ben Pearson, back in the side today in the absence of Jefferson Lerma, mother Colombian. Jack Stacey, now to Riquelme, away from Ward-Prowse, has it in the middle. Now to Solanke. Riquelme will get it back, shoots first time, and this one's on target from the Spanish midfielder, but it's saved by Fraser Forster, who had to dive down low to deal with it. Yeah, nice play by Bournemouth. Solanke with that touch to Riquelme, hits it first time, tries to catch Forster cold, but unfortunately just doesn't quite have the pace on it and the power, and it is a save that Fraser Forster is pretty content with. Kick out to the left, which Walker Peters volleys forward. Cook gets up above Redmond, then Rico's able to win the second header. Wilshere to Ben Pearson, who's playing very wide in the centre. Danjuma tries to get around Walker Peters. Martin Atkinson says no. He did stand his ground there, to be fair. The Southampton right back. It's been a real interesting encounter between them two down that right-hand side. As Bournemouth have a throw-in down the right-hand side, and it's something you could say, well, you could certainly say this is probably Bournemouth's best spell they've had in this game, inside 34 minutes in a half where both have had their moments of slight dominance, but haven't yet seen a goal in this encounter. Solanke goes down under the challenge of Walker Peters. Free kick. As the Southampton number 2 held the arm of his former roommate, Dom Solanke, as well. They were roommates on England under-21 duties a few years ago. So Rico looks the obvious candidate to take this free kick with his left foot. And Danjuma's over this as well. It's a right footer and a left footer. Of course, Bertrand and Ward-Prowse were that sort of combination when the Saints would have a free kick. Genepo's the only player in the room, well away as he's behind that white line. Rico delivers it in, deep cross in there. No Bournemouth player ran onto it. Bertrand with the flick away with his heel. Billing by the right-hand byline. It's been forced to go back by Adams. Cook to Jack Stacey. So it was Carter Vickers to Stacey, rather. Diego Rico. Danjuma can't get around Stuart Armstrong, who was well aware of what Danjuma was trying to do there down that left-hand touch. So as we enter the final 10 minutes of this first half, with it currently 0-0 between Bournemouth and Southampton, and a game you're listening to on Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentaries. Jack Wilshere was fouled in the middle of the pitch. He tried to take it quickly and is able to still Stacey on the ball now for Bournemouth. Gets away from Genepo. Solanke gets the foot in first ahead of Vestergaard. He gets away from him. Solanke tries to cut it back to Riquelme, who did manage to trickle on through to, but he just couldn't quite get that touch right. The Atletico Madrid loanee, and the ball just goes into the arms of Fraser Forster. They're getting in there. He was really quiet for 25, 30 minutes, wasn't he, Rodrigo Riquelme? But he's starting to get into this game now, isn't he? And they're starting to use him. He's starting to come from the right into the middle and start to be the player linking up with the attack, in particular Solanke. That's a few occasions where they've had that chance to get an opportunity on goal. It's just not quite worked out, but it's encouraging to see him in the game. Ben Pearson nearly picked off that Saints pass by Jan Bednarek, who, of course, is on a yellow card. Walker Peters with the ball forward. Pearson gets it under control. Ward-Prowse trying to get in there, but it's good defensive work by Philip Billing to win it back. Rico nutmegs Armstrong, but it's picked off by a white shirt. Here's Nathan Redmond. Adams to his right. Redmond might look to go it alone. He's drifting out to the left. Plays it through to Genepo. That's a lovely ball. Genepo's in, and Genepo scored. Lovely finish by the Malian. And Bournemouth were cut open down there, right-hand side. Nathan Redmond did the hard work, slid it through to Moussa Genepo, who opened up on his right foot to calmly place it beyond Asmir Begovic and give Southampton the lead here at the Vitality Stadium with 8 minutes of the first half remaining. Bournemouth 0, Southampton 1. Brilliant run by Redmond. Goes through the middle. He just waits for that run from Genepo and gets it. Stacey's the wrong side of him. He's on his left-hand side of the attacking player, Genepo, when he should be on the right. He slips, and Genepo opens himself up and just slots it right in that corner. The moment it left his foot, it was going in the back of the net, and what a brilliant finish it is. While the two players balled into the lineup by Ralph Hasenhüttl have combined to score, as Redmond, who replaced Nathan Teller, comes in place and gives it, who lays it off to Moussa Genepo, who, of course, scored in place of the cup-tied Takumi Minamino. But Bournemouth, who were just shading that spell, have seen them now go 1 goal down and now got work to do in order to try and get back in this game at the end of the first half, which we are 5.5 minutes from the end of. But Nathan Redmond, who's been really quiet in this game, they bring him into the game, bring him into life, if you like, and he just plays a beautiful ball to Genepo. And then Marlin, who's still got work to do, is able to just slot that in and make it 1-0 to Southampton, who, of course, are bidding to be, once again, FA Cup semi-finalists for the 9th time. The last, of course, was 3 years ago under Mark Hughes, where they beat lower league opposition to get there before Chelsea put an end to their cup run at Wembley. They're heading there once again as it stands, courtesy of Moussa Genepo's second goal of the season, as him and Bertrand tried to play amongst one another down that left-hand touchline, but it's defended well by the Bournemouth players of Stacey. And Wilshere, I think, was over there, and Southampton got a throw. Bertrand takes the throw to Redmond, tried to give it back to Bertrand. It bounced off Raquelme out for a Saints throw. Well, Bournemouth won't want to concede a second goal. Being 1-0 up is... Being 1-0 down, is not too bad, because it still gives you a chance of coming back against the Premier League. So being 2-0 down, it is a hard task for you to do. And Bertrand runs out of room as a goal kick's been given. But it's a first half that has had plenty of encouragement for the Championship side. They have had brief moments. They haven't probably worked Fraser Forster enough, but they're certainly not short of energy, given that they, of course, did play a game on Tuesday and have got a very thin squad. But, of course, a lot of first-team players missing. And, of course, 7 of their 8 on the bench are players who've progressed from their academy. And, of course, there was one player, Nathan Mariah Welsh, who wasn't even given a squad number until earlier on today. Here is Danjuma. It's gone off Kyle Walker-Peters and out for a Bournemouth throw. Pearson to Rico. Billing. Away from Ward-Prowse, who clips him. Advantage played by Martin Atkinson. And outside of the football by Billing. Finds Jack Stacey. When they do come off, they do look good. Passes like that. But it was only inside his own half. Cook to Rico. Danjuma, Pearson, Rico. Bournemouth just keeping hold of possession here. Good sliding challenge from Walker-Peters as Southampton win it back. Ball forward by Ward-Prowse. Walker-Peters get there as it's in the right-hand channel. And then Steve Cook's clearance has gone off Walker-Peters, who doesn't give an end to the chase. And it's gone out for a Bournemouth throw as we head into the final 3 minutes of this first half, with the score Bournemouth 0, Southampton 1, courtesy of a Moussa Genepo goal. Our coverage doesn't stop. We've got 2 more games to bring you. One more from the FA Cup as Jack Cunningham is on the mic as Everton entertain Manchester City at Goodison Park, and then Mike Arneman will bring you the crucial later game in the Premier League as Brighton entertain Newcastle United at the Amex Stadium, with both sides, of course, hoping to take advantage of the fact that Fulham suffered defeat against Leeds United last night in the other game in the Premier League. Not backed by Carter Vickers to Asmir Begovic. And it is kicked out of play by the Bosnian shot stopper for Bournemouth, out for a Southampton throw. Well, you can follow us on social media. You can find us on Twitter at Commentary Live 1, capital C, and then a capital L, and of course 1, so all one word there. And then, of course, you can visit us on Facebook. The best way to follow Football Commentary Live, go to facebook.com/footcomlive. away by Jack Stacey. Offside flag is raised against Bertrand, who was well up the pitch there as he was trying to continue the Saints attack. He's actually given for a foul by Shea Adams, who went into the side of Cameron Carter-Vickers. Redmond tries to turn from Carter-Vickers, but he's watched the ball well there and done well against Nathan Redmond, who is at times a tricky player to play against. He hasn't quite had the season that he was hoping for. But of course, getting an assist today is certainly staked a claim for him to start in the regular matches beyond the last international break of the 2021 season. Wilshere now for Bournemouth in space in the middle of the pitch toward the right-hand side. Gives it to Pearson. Now Steve Cook brings it forward and brings it all the way into the Saints half. Rico plays it first time down the line to Dan Zuma down that left. But then coming across the clear was Jan Bednarek. Adams gives it to Ward Prowse, who just clears it the first time of asking. Redmond and Carter-Vickers both battling there. Carter-Vickers didn't do anything wrong, according to the referee, Martin Atkinson. His linesman down that side certainly agrees with it. The linesman there, Konstantin Hatzidakis. Stacey looks for Solanke. Vestergaard gets in front of him and couldn't shield the ball out of play. Well done, Solanke, to keep it in. He's going into the box. He waits for the options. He gives it to Riquelme, who was probably the last person he wanted it there. He was so close to him. Solanke could have played it earlier. Billing was the ideal candidate he could have played it to, but he didn't even play it to the Dane, and instead he went to Riquelme, who was right in front of him as the board has gone up for additional time. 1 minute added on. He did so well, Solanke, to keep that in, not allow the ball to be going out of play by Yannick Vestergaard. And he just stopped and slowed the attack down. And if he kept it up, looked up and saw Billing, who was on the penalty spot, it might have been a level playing field going into the end of the first half, as Southampton have got a throw as the clock is ticking toward the end of the first half. 20 seconds of it remaining. Bournemouth 0, Southampton 1. Southampton leading, of course, through a Moussa Genepo goal, his second of the season for the Malian. Armstrong with the chest to Redmond. Can they go 2-0 up? He might have to go on alone here. Redmond goes on his right. He's away from Cook, and Redmond does go on alone and scores. All his own work. A real sucker punch to the Bournemouth team, as Nathan Redmond, who got an assist for Genepo's opener, has now got his name on the score sheet and has put the Saints 2-0 up. And they are cruising, if you like, into the semi-finals of this season's FA Cup. Bournemouth 0, Southampton 2 with the last attack of this first half. You see Redmond here. He knows that he's got to go in alone. It's a beautiful chest into him by Armstrong. Such clever play by the Scotsman. He's just running on his right. He just keeps the ball, close control to his feet. You think Cook might have done enough to force him wide, but he sends him on the deck and he's gone really wide. He's opened his body up and fired it beyond Begovic into that far corner on the left-hand side of the goal to Begovic's right. It was a brilliant finish and the Saints are 2-0 up. Well, to sort of go with the chant that Southampton fans love to sing, the Saints are marching in as it stands to the Wembley Arch. They lead by 2-0 here in the first of the FA Cup quarter-finals. Moussa Genepo scored after a beautiful ball through by Nathan Redmond as he slotted it beyond Asmir Begovic, who was absolutely powerless to stop the goal going in, courtesy of a Redmond assist. And then the man who provided the opening goal for Genepo scored himself with the last attack of the first half. He received it from an Armstrong ball into him off his chest, and Redmond went in alone, got into the box on his right foot, and then made no mistake as Asmir Begovic was beaten. Half-time here at the Vitality Stadium. No shock on the cards at the moment. Bournemouth 0, Southampton 2.
Thank you very much, Matt, and a fantastic first half from the Saints, who could have had an earlier goal, which was chalked off for offside. And for me, it didn't look offside at first, but when I saw where they were drawing the lines, I thought, and when I went to VAR, I thought, this is going to be given offside, isn't it? And Bournemouth have never really got going in that first half. Southampton fully in control. They've had a lot of possession, a lot of chances. Just having a quick look at the first half stats in this first FA Cup quarter-final clash. Southampton with 54% possession compared to Bournemouth's 46%. 4 shots from Bournemouth, 7 from Southampton, 3 on target for Bournemouth, 3 on target for Southampton. 1 corner for Bournemouth, 2 for Southampton. 4 fouls from Bournemouth, 5 from Southampton. And looking at that, Southampton are well in control of the game so far, and sometimes the stats lie, but it doesn't seem to lie. And if we are level at the end of this game, we will go to extra time and penalties. But if not, we will conclude the programme shortly after 2 o'clock this afternoon. And Bournemouth are the only side left in the competition from outside of the Premier League. Southampton reached the semi-finals in 2018, losing to Chelsea, who can build their place in the quarterfinals tomorrow against Sheffield United. Speaking of the draw, incidentally, for the semi-finals, that's going to be made at half-time between Leicester v Manchester United at 5 o'clock. That is on BBC One. So make sure, if we don't bring you that, make sure you tune into them. We'll bring you, and then next time we'll recap the draw and tell you our thoughts on the FA Cup draw for the semi-finals. Coming up later then, we've got Jack Cunningham on the microphone, making his commentary live debut at 5:30. That is for Everton against Manchester City, the second of the quarter-finals. Then at 8 o'clock this evening in the crunch game in the Premier League, 6-pointer at the bottom of the table, Brighton and Hove Albion and versus Newcastle United at 8 with Mike Orneman. And that, as Matt said, is a very crunch game. And Leeds United helped out both Brighton and Newcastle with their victory over Fulham, keeping them both outside of the relegation places. Elsewhere today, no commentaries on any of these games, but we've got a full-packed Championship action. We've got an early kick-off at the Brentford Community Stadium. It's Brentford 1, Nottingham Forest 0. In that game, the goal scorer for them in that game for Brentford is whoever they can't guess. It is that man again, Ivan Toney, from the penalty spot on 12 minutes. They played 35 minutes. In that one, Brentford 1, Nottingham Forest 0 is the scoreline. We'll be back with Matt for the second half in a few minutes' time, ready for the second half coverage. Will be on air later around about 5 o'clock. Around about 5:15 ahead of this evening's game between Everton and Manchester City. We'll bring you up to date with the latest. At half time, I'll bring you up to date with the latest from Swansea against Cardiff in the Championship. That's an 5:30 kick-off at the Liberty Stadium. And we'll bring you up to date with all the other scores from the English leagues and also in Scotland as well. Rangers already won the title up in the Scottish Premiership, and they take on Glasgow rivals Celtic tomorrow. And Celtic have said they will not be doing the Guard of Honour for Rangers and I don't think last year Rangers did the Guard of Honour for Celtic. So it'll be very interesting there. But Ivan Toney's goal separates Brentford and Nottingham Forest so far, 6 minutes going in that game, I've just flicked over to have a look in my studio based, and the race for promotion into the champion from the championship is hotting up now with that goal that's come again at the Brentford Community Stadium. Sees Brentford 2 points behind Watford and Nottingham Forest are just to remain 1 point above Derby, count their bitter rivals Derby, who will have a game in hand after Derby play later on this afternoon. Championship leaders Norwich play at home to Blackburn this afternoon. Derby are away to Stoke. Some big games there. Watford take on Birmingham at 3 o'clock. Barnsley against Sheffield Wednesday, Yorkshire Derby. That's going to be a tasty affair, and Barnsley are buoyed after the news yesterday that Alex Morris' red card he got in Barnsley's last game has been overturned, and he is available to play tonight. He is a big player for Barnsley, and that news will be one which is welcomed from everyone at Oakwell ahead of this big Yorkshire Derby this afternoon. Kick-off at 3 o'clock. Rotherham United take on Bristol City at 3 o'clock at Ashton Gate, and that will be a tough ask for Rotherham, especially the way Bristol City have played this season. Rotherham will be looking to move out of the close the gap to Birmingham City and build a gap over Sheffield Wednesday, and be hoping Barnsley can do them a favour. Barnsley up into 5th place and 5 points behind Swansea, so they'll be hoping Cardiff can do them a favour later, especially if they get a win against Sheffield Wednesday this season. Sheffield Wednesday have had a 6-point deduction. It was originally 12, reduced it to 6. Wickham are just 3 points off of the Owls, and it looks as though the Owls may be heading for League One, which after 4 draws and after 4 defeats and a draw in their last 5 games for Darren Moore's side, Rotherham 1 win and 4 draws in their last 5. Wickham 1 win and 4 draws as well, like Rotherham. The informed team in the Championship at the moment is Norwich. Won the last 5 on the bounce. 25 games have been won by the Canaries. Only lost 5, so it looks like they're set for return to the Premier League. And will it be Watford who'll be joining them in automatics, or will it be Brentford who'll be joining them in automatics? Brentford currently 1-0 up in their game this lunchtime against Nottingham Forest. As Gaetan Bond puts the ball in for Forest, and is put behind by former Leeds man Pontus Jansson for Brentford. I've just had a quick flick over to have a look at see what's happening in that game. We'll wait for the teams to come back out at the Vitality Stadium in our commentary game this afternoon. And Matt, if you just look at, I've just been speaking there regarding the Championship table, and Brentford leading this afternoon 1-0 against Nottingham Forest, closing the gap on Watford, who play later against Birmingham. And it seems to be possibly a 3-horse race between Brentford, Watford and Swansea for that automatic promotion play spot going in towards the end of the Championship campaign. And if you look at that, Matt, I'll just read you the form for all 3 of the teams I've just mentioned there. Watford's form in the last 5, 4 wins and a defeat. Brentford in their last 5 prior to today, guys, is 3 wins, a defeat, and a draw. The same is for Swansea, 3 wins, a draw, and a defeat. Then, if you look at the form and if you've seen any of the games, who do you think will go up alongside Norwich? 'Cause it's fair to say now, Norwich 10 points clear over Watford. It's fair to say that I think Norwich are promoted. Wouldn't you say so, Matt?
Yeah, I think they've secured it, haven't they? I mean, their team for the Championship, some of the players in there, wouldn't have kind of played if they were playing for a sort of top half Premier League side. Buendia, Aarons, Todd Cantwell, Pookie, very, very good players individually that can really turn the screw, but they're a good footballing team. Norwich, as we know, Daniel Farke's really got a good grip on the Championship, and, they've managed to keep their big players after their sort of relegation from the Premier League, and I think it's really, really telling that, they're just so consistent, so, bang on at what they do. They've just got players who can just turn the screw at any point, so they're pretty secure in terms of getting promoted for me, and it's going to take a real major collapse for them to not be in the Premier League again next season.
And as to the other 3 that I've mentioned, Watford, Brentford and Swansea, who do you think will go up in second behind them? Because at the moment, Watford are in second, they're 10 points behind Norwich, but they're 2 points above Brentford with this result for Brentford, who are currently leading 1-0 against Nottingham Forest this afternoon.
I think it's quite interesting. I think, obviously, you look at those 3 sides. I think Watford and Swansea certainly, I think what makes them certainly stand out is that they've got very, very good defences. I think, just seeing it now, I think Watford have the joint lowest defence of goals conceded in the Championship with Norwich. And obviously Swansea are close sort of second on 28 goals conceded, whereas Watford and Norwich have got 26. So that's what's been the real strength for them. Brentford, as we know, their attack is absolutely devastating. Tony and Burmo, the likes of Godosh as well, who's been chipping in with goals, Canos, Fosu, Janelt. So it is interesting to see, but for me, I do like the look of Watford. I think, they've made the managerial changes. Xisco Munoz coming in, and, he's really fared well. I think he's, sort of making everyone happy. They've changed their style to be a bit more attacking, a bit more dominant of games, and I think it's really worked out well. And I just can't see Watford not getting promoted this season, and I do think they will be a side that will be in the top 2 and, alongside Norwich and, returning to the Premier League at the first time of asking.
Yes, and actually playoffs then, there's got Brentford, Swansea, Barnsley and Reading in there at the moment. Bournemouth are 2 points outside of the final playoff spot as well. Who do you reckon who made the playoffs, and who do you reckon will go through the playoffs?
Well, I think obviously if you look on that, it'll be certainly Swansea, Brentford. I think obviously Bournemouth will be in there. I also really like the look of Barnsley. I think everybody kind of wants Barnsley to sort of stumble and fall, given that they play with such a ferocity and such an intensity, and they're really in your face. But if I had to choose a winner, I think I'd probably have to say Brentford will be I think the side to go up will probably be Swansea, and I think Brentford will miss out once again, unfortunately.
Yes, we're back ready now for the start of the second half. So let's bring in and let's the floor commentary from our very own Matt Iles once again for the next 45 minutes.
Thank you very much, Russ. So work to do for Bournemouth, who are 2-0 down to Southampton. This is a South Coast derby that is not going the way of the Cherries at the moment and is seeing the Saints marching in to Wembley for the semi-finals in mid-April as Bournemouth get us underway as they go from right to left. Just go through the 2 teams as we are 10 seconds into the second half. Begovic in goal. Stacey, Carter-Vickers, Cook and Rico at the back 4 for Bournemouth. Wilshere, Pearson and Billing are the 3. And then the 3 attackers of Danjuma, Solanke and Rodrigo Riquelme. And then the substitutes, Mark Travers, Chris Mepham, Jordan Zamora, Gavin Kilkenny, Nathan Mariah Welsh, Jaden Anthony, Christian Saidi and Sam Surrett. 7 of Bournemouth's 8 on the bench are players that have progressed from their Youth Academy. Southampton's team as follows. It's Fraser Forster in goal, back for Walker Peters, Vestergaard, Bednarek and Bertrand. They have the three in midfield of Jallow. Well, it looks like a 4-4-2 actually. Jallow and Ward-Prowse as the centre of the two. And then Armstrong on the right with then Genepo on the left, Redmond and Adams down the middle. Redmond and Genepo were the goal scorers, both scored in the final 10 minutes of the first half, as that is the difference at the moment, as the Premier League side have shown their quality against the Championship side, Bournemouth. And they're currently beating them by the score that was at the Vitality, like it was back on the 19th of July when Southampton pretty much sent Bournemouth packing from the Premier League after Danny Ings, a former Bournemouth player, and Che Adams on the pitch for Southampton scored the goals that day in what was Bournemouth's last home game in the Premier League. And of course, they've got work to do if they are to get into the Championship playoffs after sacking Jason Tindall. They currently sit just outside the playoffs, 2 points behind Reading, which presenter Ross Vernon alluded to earlier on. So, of course, they'll be hoping that after the international break, they can get back to winning ways. And, of course, they'll be looking to do that against Middlesbrough, a side that Jonathan Woodgate last managed and, of course, was a supporter of as a young lad growing up watching football. Here's Raquelme. Redmond has fouled him as he was just a little bit too aggressive in trying to win the ball back there. As Bournemouth have got a free kick right by the right-hand touchline down the far side of the pitch. Yeah, could foul in the back as it's taken quickly by Wilshere. Here's Steve Cook to Ben Pearson. Back in the side today in place of Jefferson Lerma, who was suspended following a yellow cards limit that was reached. Now to Rico. Danjuma gives it back to Rico once again. Danjuma has it once more. Going forward is the Dutchman. Good delivery. Bertrand with the diving header away. Wilshere sliding in. Is Billing. Wilshere gets it back. Goes for the shot. And it's into the side netting. Well, they played it along nicely, didn't they, around the edge of the box. They didn't have a lot of room to create the opportunity from him. Wilshere gets on his left foot, and it's not a bad effort, actually, by Wilshere. He sort of scored similar goals, didn't he? You know, for England a few years ago, I can remember that Slovenia game where he hit two absolute corkers in Ljubljana and, of course, hit that one wide, and he wasn't that far away there, but that's better from Bournemouth. Nice close control, short pass in to set the chance up. And of course, it got forced to dive, but ultimately it was unsuccessful, so it was off target. Ward-Prowse clearing it forward. Bournemouth throw in. Better start to the second half by the Cherries. If they could get an early goal in this second half to close the deficit to 1, it would really reignite their hopes of clawing the deficit in this game. Here is Diego Rico to Cook, to Cameron Carter-Vickers. Stacey has it. Now to Pearson. Now with Carter-Vickers. And then Begovic with the kick up the pitch. Solanke with an arm in the back on Jan Bednarek. And it's a Southampton free kick just on the halfway line. 5 minutes of the second half gone. Bournemouth 0, Southampton 2, and has been since the first minute of stoppage time in the first half when Nathan Redmond's second of the season made it 2-0. And then before that, Musa Genepo's lovely controlled finish beyond Asmir Begovic got the ball rolling for the Premier League side. Throw in to Southampton, which is put into touch by Carter-Vickers. Here is Armstrong. There's enough to fight off Wilshere as he lays it back to Ibrahima Jallow. And it's once again a Southampton throw. Well, our coverage doesn't stop. On Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentary, Jack Cunningham is on the mic for his debut as he is covering the Everton-Manchester City encounter in by Jallow. And he's gone out to play for a goal kick as that's on later on in the second of the FA Cup matches from today. And then, of course, we've got Brighton against Newcastle from the Premier League later on. Join Mike Arneman for that as it's a crucial relegation 6-pointer. John Kane is your man on commentary duties for Aston Villa against Tottenham. It's Aston Villa entertain Spurs tomorrow. I was right. I thought I got that one completely wrong there. So they entertain them at Villa Park tomorrow. Spurs look to put to right their humiliation in Zagreb on Thursday. And then also, we'll be covering the England matches from the Euro under-21s, which take place throughout this month and the start of April. You can join Russ Vernon as England kick off their campaign in Slovenia as they take on Switzerland in that on Thursday. And of course, the qualifiers get underway as well, as England will entertain San Marino at Wembley for that. Wilshere threat it through to Zanzuma, looks for Solanke, but the Saints have cut it out well there. Good defending in the end, as Genepo's not really got enough behind his clearance. Stacey crosses in, Walker-Peters underneath it and heads it out for a Bournemouth corner. Here they've played really well in this second half. Bournemouth, they're looking to just try and get back in the game as early as they can. And it's up to the Saints to just try and withstand it. Stacey with the cross in. Danjuma, he's got to try and run onto the back of it. It's a really good delivery now. If he makes the run through and just sort of tries to attack it, he's got a chance of getting an opportunity on goal. Danjuma will take the corner over the head of Philip Billing. It's going to be still kept in, though, by Ben Pearson, who's down the other side of the pitch, down the left. He plays it to Stacey. Pearson has it once more. And then he goes all the way back to the goalkeeper, Begovic, who just sends that one back into Southampton's half, but then he's given it to his goalkeeper, Fraser Forster, who just takes that under control with his foot and then will just pick the ball up as he just sort of toys with Dom Solanke there, as he looked like he was thinking about chasing it down, but then knew that, of course, Forster was just going to pick that up. Adams tries to flick it on. Carter-Vickers' clearance is bounced off him. Laid on by Armstrong to Che Adams, and it's in. Southampton have 3, and the red-hot form of Che Adams is continuing. 4 games in a row, he has found the back of the net. It is Bournemouth 0, Southampton 3, and there's a hint of real good fortune about that third goal for Southampton. Well, Carter-Vickers just almost tries to clear it, and it's just almost come off the back of Che Adams. Again, the VAR is going to check. It's fine margins, but it's a case of whether Armstrong's offside on this. It certainly sees him come from an offside position. You can't take away the finish from Che Adams. It was absolutely brilliant. Found the far corner with real ease beyond Begovic, who was once again seeing it drift past him into the net. It's going to be checked by VAR. I think for me, this ain't going to stand, and Armstrong's going to be offside because it's the last touch has gone off a Southampton player. Armstrong, to me, does look he's slightly strayed offside. Remember, Southampton did have 1 goal chalked off in the first half very early on as well, when Kyle Walker-Peters' cross was touched in by Cameron Carter-Vickers, the Bournemouth centre-back, who, of course, is clearance bounced off the back of Che Adams into the path of Armstrong. So he's been involved once again in a potential offside. And this is one that David Coote, the VAR referee, and his assistant Nick Hopton are spending a lot of time looking over. Martin Atkinson currently hasn't gone to the monitor. He's just stood in the middle of the pitch, getting word in his ear from the VAR official, David Coote. It is whether or not the last touches, it's clear that the last touch is off Adams. It is just whether Armstrong is actually offside. It does look like that he is. It is his left leg that is offside. Certainly Stacey's not playing him on, and the decision is now offside. So what you could see that was pretty obvious was that he was offside. He did just stray slightly forward, Armstrong. And of course, it did probably take a little bit longer than what it should have done, the VAR there, but it has ultimately come to the right decision. So it's not 3-0, it is 2-0. And the Saints have now had 2 goals chalked off. Sam Surridge is now going to come on in place of Ben Pearson, who's going to be replaced. So there's another attacking option, and Rodrigo Riquelme will be replaced as well. And Jaden Anthony is going to come on. A nice moment for him, who, of course, spent some time on loan at nearby Weymouth in non-league. Jonathan Woodgate, a man who's not afraid to bring young players into the fold. He did it at Middlesbrough with a very young team in the Championship, and he's doing the same here with Bournemouth. Here's Solanke down by the left-hand byline. Stands the cross up, but it's overhit and well beyond the two Bournemouth players who are bursting onto the scene to try and get on the end of it. And instead, he's crossed it all the way out for a goal kick. Well, he's been played onside. Vestergaard just stays there, and you can see what he's trying to do. But, of course, he's just overhit the cross and well beyond Jaden Anthony and Sam Surridge. Well, Sam Surridge has had a lot of success away from Bournemouth. He had a loan at Yeovil and Oldham, which really proved successful for him. He did have a loan at Swansea last year, which ultimately saw the loan cut short due to a lack of appearances. And for Jaden Anthony, it's a rather nice moment. He doesn't get many appearances to his name, to be fair, as Southampton come forward with Armstrong. The block is off of Diego Rico, but Bournemouth can't get it away. Ward-Prowse hitting the shot. It's gone off Philip Billing, away by Stacey. It's in the middle of the pitch. Here's Ward-Prowse, and it's a free kick, as they were penalised for a foul there. This is only Jaden Anthony's 5th appearance, as I was going to mention before. Of course, I was having to bring some action on the pitch, but we are 12 and a half minutes into the second half, and it is currently Bournemouth 0, Southampton 2. The Championship side unable to get the better of the Premier League side, who are on their way as it stands to a 9th FA Cup semi-final appearance. And of course, they have got their name on this trophy before. Back in 1976, they won the FA Cup when they were a second division side. But that's not good by Jack Stacey. Ward-Prowse to Redmond. It's come to Armstrong off the post. It's come to Redmond, and he'll put that in. And Southampton have 3. It's a second for Redmond. And Bournemouth just did not help themselves there with that pass from Jack Stacey, which Southampton have pounced on. And the Premier League side, I think it's fair to say now, are safely through to the last 4 of the FA Cup. Stacey tries to play it to Wilshere. Just clear your lines. They try and play their way out from the back. That just shows that they're just trying to be the sort of passing side that they are. But he's got to get the shot just to clear it. He comes to Armstrong. He slips. He hits the post. Luckily for Edmund, it comes back off the inside, the outside of the post, straight to his path. And he just rolls it on his right foot right into the corner. Just strokes it home. 3-0, and you could say that the 2 goals that Southampton had scored prior to that had been actually really good crafted goals off their own hand, but when you give goals like that against the Premier League side, they're going to punish you, and they did exactly that. Well, Nathan Redmond really has had a really good afternoon, hasn't he? He's got an assist, he's got 2 goals. All he needs now is another goal to get the match ball, and what's a fine afternoon for him. And for Southampton, Ralph Hasenhüttl, right from the start, has not disrespected this competition. He knew they were fairly comfortable in the Premier League, and he's just wanted his Southampton side to really take this competition serious and go really far in it, and it's really told for them. And here's Redmond now to Genepo. They don't look like they're going to be finishing off the scoring. Adams into Armstrong, who hit on his left foot, but I think it was good enough defending there by Bournemouth, as there was a sliding challenge coming in there that just sort of meant that Armstrong was slightly off track as he took aim. Southampton in this competition still yet to concede. They've won 2-0, 1-0 and 2-0. It's another goal for Redmond. That's a third of the campaign for him, and he's actually doubled his tally for the entire season. Well, actually tripled the tally that he had prior going into this game into one match here. So he's pretty good going for him. And of course, as part of that Southampton side, they reached the League Cup final 4 years ago, in which Manchester United beat them in a real close game at Wembley Stadium. But they're heading there once again. Of course, they'll be in the draw later on. Well, sorry, which will be made tomorrow. Who will be joining them? The other game later on is Everton against Manchester City, live from the game at Goodison Park. Jack Cunningham on the mic for that. Here's Ward-Prowse, Armstrong. That's a lovely ball to Che Adams, his international teammate. Can't get around Steve Cook. Here's Jenepo. And then it's good defending there by Cameron Carter-Vickers. And it's a Southampton corner. Well, you can see the slight little difference, isn't it? It's that quality that Southampton have got over Bournemouth, isn't it? When they get those chances that are presented to them, they do take it, albeit it might be the second bite of the cherry. And obviously it was that finish from Redmond that put it in, but it just shows that they can match them sort of stride for the most part, but it's that little bit of quality that has been telling, and it's really been on show this afternoon for Southampton. Corner from the left, which Bertrand takes short to Redmond. Bertrand will be receiving it once more as he comes back from the corner in toward Vestergaard. Him and Cook both competed, and then it was a header away by Cook in this instance. Jenepo and Wilshere both competing, and the game will be stopped as Jenepo comes off worse in that situation between him and Wilshere. There's a stoppage, 17 and a half minutes into the second half, with the score Bournemouth 0, Southampton 3. Moussa Jenepo and 2 from Redmond, putting the Saints in a commanding position here at the Vitality Stadium and winning this South Coast duel, if you like. Of course, our coverage does not stop. Mike Arneman will be on the mic as Brighton take on Newcastle. And then tomorrow, Aston Villa are against the Tottenham side, who, of course, suffered the humiliation of being dumped out of Europe despite holding a 2-goal deficit, courtesy of Dinamo Zagreb's 3-0 win. John Kane will be bringing you that from 7:30. And, of course, all across Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentary, we will be bringing you all of England's under-21 Euro matches from the European Championships in Slovenia. And that all kicks off on Thursday at 2 p.m. with Russ Vernon on the mic for that as they entertain Switzerland in that game, of course. And that is, of course, what is coming up in the next few days and weeks on Football Commentary Live. You can follow us on social media. You can follow us on Twitter. Go to our Twitter handle, which is @CommentaryLive1, capital C, and then, of course, a capital L. All one word, remember, and all one sort of username, if you like. And then go to visit our Facebook page. The best way to follow Football Commentary Live, go to facebook.com/FootComLive. Moussa Jenepo's just temporarily off the pitch, so Saints down to 10 men. Don't think they might be down to 10 men, given the nature of the scoreline. Ball down the line looking for Surridge. Vestergaard was been put under real scrutiny there by Surridge, who actually gave him a little nudge in the back. The offside flag was raised down that side by Konstantin Hatzidakis. I think Jenepo will now be back on the field of play once more. We are 20 minutes into the second half. Bournemouth 0, Southampton 3. Of course, there was sad news earlier on. One of Leeds' greatest ever players, Peter Lorimer, sadly passed away at the age of 74. Our condolences from Football Commentary Live goes out to his family and his friends in this difficult time, as he passed away with a long illness. As it's been headed away there by Jan Bednarek, out for a Bournemouth throw inside their own half down this left-hand side. Rico with the throw forward. Surridge tries to get it under control, but he goes straight into the path of Armstrong, put forward by Rico. Danjuma then to Surridge. Getting a foot in there was Jan Bednarek. Jenepo is fouled by Jadon Anthony. Free kick, and Bednarek has stayed down. as he is lying on the ground in pain. It was on his ankle as Surridge tried to win the ball. Certainly didn't mean the follow through. It was a genuine attempt to win the ball for Bournemouth, and Bednarek is down. An important player for Southampton, has played in every single Premier League match this season. The Polish defender. Of course, we'll be looking forward to the fact that he'll be coming up against Saints teammate James Ward-Prowse when the two countries meet in the World Cup qualifiers. Bednarek is a regular in the Polish side, who of course are under new management, with Paulo Sousa taking the managerial hot seat, as Jerzy Brozek was of course relieved of his duties in the early part of the new year. So Chris Mepham is going to be coming on now for Bournemouth. Welsh defender who is in his third year with the club. So Diego Rico will come off, and we might see a formation change, in fact. So they've got three centre-backs on the field of play of Bournemouth. You might see Carter Vickers shift out to right back and Jack Stacey go to left back. It will be interesting to see what Jonathan Woodgate is trying to do, as they are just trying to go down fighting here, Bournemouth. It does look like that their chance has well and truly gone of coming back. But strange things have happened in football, as everybody knows listening to this and has seen over the years. Here is Mepham, who looks like he's just going to be playing at left back, actually. So it's just going to stay as a four with Stacey, Carter Vickers, Cook and Mepham as the four, and no need to change the system at all. Fraser Forster. The punt long. No one near it for Southampton. Begovic comes out of his area to play it to Steve Cook, the Bournemouth skipper. Here is now Chris Mepham. There's Bournemouth playing around with it at the back. Of course, the last time they tried that, they were left with a huge sucker punch, as Southampton profited from their poor pass from Jack Stacey in particular. He's intercepted this pass, though. The Bournemouth number 17. Adams with a beautiful flick over his head to Genepo. Adams gets it back, tries to play it through to Redmond, but the ball was short and cut out by Steve Cook. Brentford still 1-0 up against Nottingham Forest. 6 minutes of that game gone at the London Community Stadium, at the Brentford Community Stadium, rather. Ivan Toney with the goal. What a season he's having in the Championship, as Ibrahima Jallo is fouled. And Southampton on a free kick right in the middle of the pitch and just inside the Bournemouth half. There's been a lot of pressure on Ralph Hasenhüttl, the Southampton coach. He did say before this game that Bournemouth were a side not to underestimate, and to be fair, his side have not taken the Cherries lightly. They have very much not been complacent. That's a lovely ball by Armstrong. Walker-Peters back to Ward-Prowse. It's on his left foot. It's gone off the face of Chris Mepham. Ward-Prowse wants a penalty. No need for the referee to step in and potentially look at this handball. Armstrong's had a really good afternoon. He's just dropped deep, as he's played really high in this game. He cuts it back. Walker-Peters, who's found from Armstrong's pass into Ward-Prowse. He's on an angle, isn't it? It just sort of comes to him quite quickly. And then he decides to take the shot on, hits it on the half volley. It just sort of cannons off Mepham's face and into the arms of Begovic. Redmond in the box for Southampton is there once again in Bournemouth's half, but it's cut out by Cook, the Bournemouth captain, to stop Redmond's cross, picking out a white shirt. And Southampton have a throw-in on the right-hand side, right by the corner flag. And they're in absolute no rush to take this whatsoever. And there are two more FA Cup games tomorrow. Chelsea take on Sheffield United, which looks pretty nailed on for Thomas Tuchel's side to be in the last four. Last season's runners-up, remember. And, of course, the most eye-catching game of the quarterfinals, we'll see Leicester take on Manchester United, who, of course, celebrated the fact that they reached the quarterfinals of the Europa League following a 1-0 win in Milan courtesy of a Paul Pogba strike. 20 minutes to go here at the Vitality, the first of the 4 FA Cup quarter-finals. Bournemouth 0, Southampton 3. You're listening to Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentary, with the Premier League side showing the difference between the sides, the division below, how to play football, you could say. And after a bright start to the second half by Bournemouth, they just give Southampton that chance to score, and it's just really taking it out of them. Billing and Jallow are competing there. Billing goes down. He did probably go down a bit too easily there as Bertrand knocked him off the ball. Armstrong can't get around Wilshere. The second ball was cut up by Ward-Prowse. Here's Armstrong. Good run through the middle by the Southampton number 17, but the ball was short to Moussa Genepo, and then it's cut out by Stacey, and Southampton have a throw. It's a really good run from Armstrong, and, obviously Redmond is going to be the man who steals the headlines, but, you always like to see the players who've been unsung in this game, and I think he's been superb. He's really impressing every time I see him, Armstrong, the way he can play, sort of adapting in those midfield roles, higher up the pitch and in a sort of slightly defensive role. Here he is once more, and that's a really good save by Begovic. He got that little bit of room in the middle. He must have been about 20 yards out. He hit it low, hit it quite firmly, it has to be said. Begovic at full stretch to deny him and keep it at 3-0. Tries to play it through to Adams, doesn't it? It comes off Cook. It comes back to Armstrong. He's allowed to get the shot out. Carter Vickers has got to be coming right at to close him down. Doesn't, allows the shot to come in. Luckily, it goes through the crowd of bodies in Cook and Carter Vickers, and Begovic is able to just smother himself down low and push it out for a corner. James Ward-Prowse to deliver this for Southampton, away by Philip Billing. Saints have it once more, though, with Walker-Peters, with an easy ball out to the right with Ward-Prowse, who's basically standing on the right-hand touchline. Jallow to Redmond. Here is Jallow once more. The defensive midfielder in his first season with Southampton, and is going to be an FA Cup semi-finalist. Redmond to Vestergaard. Redmond once more. Vestergaard has it again. Didn't really know what to do there, the Danish centre-back, and has pulled back Philip Billing, and is going to get a yellow card there. That moment of hesitation and his changing of his mind has cost him there, because he's got himself a cynical yellow card. He just gets it from Redmond there. Just play it back to him. I mean, don't try and do something that you can't do. And unfortunately for him, he's just got himself a yellow card. His Dan Juma, who's been really quiet in this second half, was alive in the first half, but has not really been able to work the magic that we know he's so capable of doing. Came into this in really good form, as I said. 4 goals in his last 5 encounters for Bournemouth. And after what was a real tough first season with his team getting relegated and no goals or assists in 14 appearances, he's found the championship much easier as Genepo goes into Jadon Anthony. The Bournemouth Academy graduate. Wilshere with the ball out to Danjuma. Tries to give it to Solanke. Well cut out there by Jan Bednarek. Here's Armstrong with another good run through the middle. No Bournemouth player can get near him at the moment. He's just about played it to Redmond, who gets the shot away, and he's nearly got the hat-trick. It was laid onto him by Stuart Armstrong. Redmond went for the curl right beyond Begovic and right beyond the post, but how close was he to scoring a hat-trick? Oh, he's so close. Laid onto him by Armstrong, who just slides in, just gets a stud to it, if you like. And Redmond, it comes into him. He just opens his body up. The technique, the execution's right, but he's just off target. And he is very, very unlucky. It's the Southampton number 20. It's the Southampton number 11. Mohamed Salisu and Jack Stevens are going to be introduced. 2 defenders coming on. I think one of the centre-backs will be coming off for Southampton, Vestergaard or Bednarek. You could even possibly be seeing Salisu come on, who can play in that position. Ride for just under 11 million from Real Valladolid in Spain, but has found life in England tricky. The Ghanaian, with various injury problems, that has limited him to just a hatful of appearances as Solanke tries to get away from Kyle Walker-Peters, but has to settle for a throw-in as we enter the final 15 minutes here with Bournemouth 3-0 down to the Saints, and now Southampton will make this change. Will be Jack Stevens, who will be introduced from the bench. Yeah, Bednarek is going to come off. On a booking, which you'd explain that, and his centre-back partner is going to come off as well in Yannick Vestergaard. So Ralph Hasenhüttl not taking any chances there with both of his first-choice centre-backs both booked. They're going to be replaced by two players in Mohamed Salisu and Jack Stevens, who will be getting introduced and getting some minutes of football in their legs for the final sort of 13 plus minutes of this game. So confirmation, Stevens on and Salisu on for Vestergaard and Bednarek respectively. Throw in to Bournemouth, who've also made a sub of their own. Billing is off as Gavin Kilkenny, the Irishman, has replaced him as well. But here's the chance for Dan Schumer. Opens up. Good save by Forster. Salisu clears it away. That's the first save that Fraser Forster's had to make in the entire game. From that sort of position in the box. Dan Schumer, of course, had that one in the first half, which you didn't really never think was going to go in. Not the best first touch by Forster, but is able to clear his lines. And if anyone was going to score today for Bournemouth, it was going to be the Dutchman. In goes the cross once more. Walker-Peters heads it away. On the edge of the box with Bournemouth. Kilkenny decides to head it on. Stacey with the clearance forward, which he's completely got wrong, and has actually set it behind him. And now it's Nathan Redmond. Now with Stevens, Salisu, Jallo, Bertrand Jallo once more. Redmond flicks it through to Armstrong, and he's shown Steve Cook a clean pair of heels. Adams is up in support. He looked for Adams, but the pass has gone off the feet of Steve Cook and out for a Southampton corner with 11.5 minutes of the game to play. Yeah, it was a real good quick break. But Bournemouth chance just moments before. Solanke does well to get it off Kyle Walker-Peters, and Dan Schumer. He's scored a lot of goals from that sort of position this season, hasn't he? As the Dutchman, and he just couldn't quite angle it into that far corner. It was a good low save by Forster, and it was just really straight at him, to be honest. Corner for Southampton. Armstrong's going to take. Ward-Prowse is going to take, Away by Solanke. Comes to the edge of the box with Ibrahima Jallo. What a chance to get his first goal of the season and his first for Southampton, but he's off target with that attempt. And it's a goal kick. Comes to him on the edge of the box. You can't knock him for trying. And that's one that I don't think he'll be looking back on with a lot of envy. Well, we will be bringing you the other FA Cup quarter-final from later on. Jack Cunningham will make his football commentary night debut. Welcome to the team, Jack. Ross Vernon on presenting duties for that game. As him and Jack will be taking you through that game. Brighton and Newcastle from the Premier League is a game that's going to be shown later on. Mike Arneman will be on the mic for that in that relegation 6-pointer. Redmond threads it through to Adams, who's going to go on his own. Is he? The first touch really lets him down. He's been stopped in his tracks by Steve Cook, who does well to just get in front of the shot. But had Che Adams got that first touch right, I think we would have been saying Southampton would have gone 4-0 up. Not the best clearance away, though, by Carter Vickers. Jallo away from Kilkenny, who just tugs at his shirt and will escape a booking, I think, the Irish midfielder. Yeah, Jallo just turns him No tug on his shirt. Nothing more really, is it? Right thing to do for Martin Atkinson was be lenient in this situation. Ward-Prowse gets it from Bertrand short. Here is Ibrahima Diallo. Salisu. Ward-Prowse has it once more. Out now to Jack Stevens. Can't find Shenepo, who was out on that left-hand side. Cut out by Stacey. He looks for Solanke with the high ball, who actually wins the original header, but doesn't really get a lot of conviction on it. And instead, it's gone off the head of the Southampton defender, Jack Stevens. Ward-Prowse to Shenepo. As we enter the final 9 minutes of this contest in the first FA Cup quarter-final, with Southampton leading 3-0. Shenepo and 2 from Redmond have seen the Premier League side win this contest as they're just managing the final 8.5 minutes of this match. Salisu to Bertrand, who goes down from Cardiff because his challenge, that was a challenge out of pure frustration from the American international, and Southampton have got a free kick. And of course, tomorrow John Kane will be bringing you coverage of Aston Villa against Tottenham from 7:30 kickoff in that one from Villa Park. Tottenham are actually supposed to play Southampton, but of course with the games in hand that Villa have got and Tottenham, they of course have managed to have a rearranged game put on this weekend. And then of course this week is the start of the Under-21 Euros in Slovenia. We'll be covering all of England's matches. Russ Werner will bring you the opening game as they entertain Switzerland in that match. Join him with kickoff from 2 p.m. Ward-Prowse. Lovely ball out to Armstrong, or it's going to be well beyond the Scottish midfielder who drifted out to the right to try and get that under control and continue the attack. But it was not the best ball from Ward-Prowse, and it's gone out of play for a Bournemouth goal kick. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @CommentaryLive1. And of course, you can go to Facebook. Head to our Facebook page, facebook.com/FootcomLive. All one thing, capital F, capital C, capital L at the start of every word. And you type that in, and you can be involved in the discussion during the game, at halftime, before the game, and at the end of the game. Have your voice or question heard. Don't be afraid to join in with the discussion or debate. And there's a yellow card is issued for Jack Wilshere. Yeah, it was late on Jallo. He got away from him. Easy spot for the referee, and that's a booking that referees love to give. Challenges like that. Ward-Prowse take the free kick. Southampton still have 3 subs they can make. Bournemouth have 2. Maybe we will see another change, and we will, as Moussa Shenepo is going to come off. He's had a good afternoon, got a goal, got the ball rolling, didn't he, with that goal on 37 minutes. And for someone who's found scoring and assists hard to come by, it's a welcome relief for him. And he's replaced as Nathan Teller will come on for the final 5.5 minutes. Yet to score in 14 appearances for the Saints. How he would love to finally get on the score sheet today. Will we actually see a debut for young academy star Will Ferry or Caleb Watts, who of course is a Australian youth international? Through by Anthony to Surridge. Well, blocked by Stevens as that ball has been kept in play. Bertrand to Walker Peters, who's fouled by Stacey. Southampton have a free kick. Sorry, it was Nathan Teller that was fouled, I should add. Southampton free kick. Well, there will be no history made by Jonathan Woodgate. He was bidding to be the first Bournemouth manager to take his club into the FA Cup semi-finals in their 122-year history. So that's the second time in that time that they've actually managed to be quarter-finalists. The last time was 1957 when they lost to Manchester United, who'd go on to be Finalists that year. Their record against top-flight opponents isn't the greatest themselves. They've just progressed from 4 of their 29 going into this. It's going to be 4 from 30. And the last one that they did win against top-flight opposition was in round 5 against Burnley, which set up this South Coast clash against their rivals down by that area of England in Southampton. And it's gone the way of the Premier League side Southampton, who lead by 3-0 as we enter the final. 4 minutes on Football Commentary Night, the home of alternative commentary. Shea Adams to Ibrahima Diallo as he tries to get away from Carter Vickers, who stands his ground superbly and wins a goal kick for his team. Elsewhere in the Championship, currently it is 1-1 between Brentford and Forest. A real blow for their automatic promotion hopes as Filip Kravinovic, the Benfica loanee, has equalised in that game at the Brentford Community Stadium. Ward-Prowse to Stevens, Salisu. Lovely ball through to Diallo. Now Teller played that forward. I think he was looking for Redmond, but put way too much on that. Diallo and Kilkenny going up against one another. It's been a good afternoon for Diallo as Southampton are going to make another change. Through to Adams. Tries to play it for Teller. It was an overhit cross. He put too much on it. Not the right type of ball. He put it really high, did Adams, as he was down on that right-hand side. He was sort of forced into rushing that cross, and if he played it low and took the pace off, it would have certainly found Nathan Teller. Interesting to see who comes on for Southampton as they're going for a warm-up. They're also going to make another change as well. It's Salisu on the ball. Ward-Prowse. So 2 Southampton changes in the offing, their final 2 this afternoon. Gavin Kilkenny, Wilshere to Stacey, Jaden Anthony, ball in, finds Surridge, who heads it on target, but Fraser Forster stops him from scoring. Good play from Bournemouth. Real good quick passing, just one touch through. Anthony with a good cross in there, really well attacked by Surridge. He gets that ball through to him via Stevens' stumble, and he heads it down low. It takes a bounce in a real difficult position, but Forster's able to go down at the same time that ball's sort of just trickling down low, and he does really well to save that, to be fair. So Kane Ramsey will be introduced for Southampton. Again, another player who's not made that many appearances. His only appearance was that 9-0 humiliation at the hands of Manchester United back in early February. So he's going to be replaced. And we're also going to see another Southampton change. It's going to be Dan Unlundulu, who's going to come on. He, of course, scored in the round 3 win over Shrewsbury, and he will replace Shea Adams, who's going to come off. So his run of 3 games without a goal is not going to continue and be 4. Of course, he did have one rightly chalked off by that Armstrong offside as it was laid into him. So he'll come off. A good afternoon for him. The Scotland man called up to the squad by Steve Clarke, finally persuaded by the former Kilmarnock and West Brom manager to be a part of his squad as they prepare for the European Championships and their upcoming World Cup qualifiers. We're entering the final 25 seconds of normal time. Bournemouth 0, Southampton 3. It has been since the 59th minute. 2 Nathan Redmond goals and a Moussa Djenepo goal have seen Southampton reach the semi-finals, but it could be an even more handsome victory for Southampton. Here is Nlundulu. Ramsey to Redmond. Here's Ward-Prowse. 3 minutes added on. Bertrand to Ward-Prowse once more. Bertrand. Nathan Teller. Bertrand. One thing that is very nice to see is the amount of academy graduates on the pitch for either side. You look at Bournemouth, they've got currently on the pitch Sam Surridge, Gavin Kilkenny and Jaden Anthony on the pitch. And then, of course, you look as well at Southampton. They've got a whole host of players on there. As one of them, Nathan Teller, is challenged well by Chris Mepham. You look at their players who've come from their academy: Jack Stevens, Kane Ramsey, Nathan Teller, Dan Ndulu on the pitch. So it's a good day for the youth teams of both these sides. Both these managers, Woodgate and Hasenhüttl respectively, have not been afraid to try youth during their tenures as managers of their respective clubs. Here's Ward-Prowse as he just manages to sell Solanke there, as he's able to just dummy to Solanke's right. Stevens. Ramsey. Ndulu tried to give it to Stuart Armstrong, but it's gone out for a throw. Well, 90 more seconds before they do get official confirmation that they are into the last four of the FA Cup for the 9th time. They, in that time, have only won 3 of the 8 semi-finals prior to it. Of course, the last time they were finalists was back in 2003 when they were beaten by Arsenal, when they were managed by Gordon Strachan. They were sort of a similar side to what they were. Sort of what the Southampton side is now, very established in the Premier League, in the bottom embers of the table. Surridge with a real whack on Mohamed Salisu, and that's going to be a yellow card. That was a real forceful challenge. Salisu certainly feels that as he's gone down on that touchline, and he certainly had the wind knocked out of his sails there. He did well to intercept the pass. Surridge just came across and shoulder charged him and actually caught him in the side there, and it might have even just touched his face, but no real harm done there as Surridge goes into the book. As we're heading into the final 20 seconds here of this first FA Cup quarter-final, as Southampton have beaten Bournemouth and are on the end of a shock. Remember, 3 years ago, the last time they reached the semi-finals, they beat lower league opposition to get to the last four. They beat Wigan of League One then. Now they're going to do the same, albeit beating Bournemouth of the Championship. Ball long, and there is the final whistle. The Saints go marching into the semi-finals of the FA Cup. And with it continue their impressive run in the competition this season of not conceding a goal. Moussa Genepo got the ball rolling as he scored on 38 minutes, as he slotted it beyond Asmir Begovic into the Bournemouth goal. Nathan Redmond was superb this afternoon. He got the assist for Genepo's goal, then added to himself right at the end of the first half, and then within the first 15 minutes of the second half. Of course, they had 2 goals chalked off with Shea Adams and an own goal from Cameron Carter-Vickers, but the quality of the Premier League side shone through against a Bournemouth side, of course, chasing a return back to the Premier League and hoping to once again be playing Southampton in the top flight. But in the Battle of the South Coast Derby, it is Southampton who win it, and they're on the way to the FA Cup semi-finals and avoid a shot. Full time, Bournemouth 0, Southampton 3.
Thank you very much, Matt. And Matt, just before we let you go, mate, and thank you for your great commentary this afternoon, who was your man of the match, sponsored by Commentary Services?
Pretty easy one. Nathan Redmond, man of the match. You know, he's not really kind of had the season I think that he was hoping for. You know, he's obviously coming into the game. He's only got 1 goal and just sort of a few assists to his name. Obviously, you know, doubled his tally this afternoon with the 2 he got. And obviously got the assist for Moussa Genepo's goal. And it was a really good performance from him, you know, and just, you know, hopefully it'll be a performance that he can take a lot of confidence from moving forward as they sort of look to just try and finish as high as they can in the Premier League. So pretty easy man of the match for me in Nathan Redmond. And that's the best I've seen him play for a very, very long time. Stepped up in the team, of course, came in for Nathan Teller and didn't disappoint.
Yes, I must have to agree with you there. 2 goals for Redmond as well, and I'm just looking on an app which I've got on my phone called Sofa Scoring. Out of the entire players who started and the players that came on the field, and I think the TV company that were covering the game all gave him man of the match. And just some of the Redmond stats today: played 90 minutes, 2 goals, 1 assist, 2 shots on target, 1 shot off target, 2 dribbles attempted, and they were both successful. 53 touches, 29 accurate passes, which is a 72.5% percentage rate. 2 key passes, 1 cross, which wasn't accurate, 1 long ball, which was accurate, 1 big chances created, 5 ground duels, 2 won. Aerial duels were 3 and he won 2 of those. He only lost possession 18 times in the match. He made 2 fouls. He wasn't fouled, and he made no clearances, no blocked shots, no interceptions, no tackles, and he dribbled past 1 player in the game. And so I think he's worthy of the man of the match. And just to say, Matt, once again, thank you for the brilliant commentary. Don't forget, guys, we'll be back later with the second of the quarterfinals with Everton taking on Manchester City. Jack Cunningham making his commentary live debut at 5:30 in the 5:30 kickoff. Then we'll have Mike Connerman on the commentary in the commentary position for Brighton against Newcastle at 8 o'clock this evening in the Premier League. Tomorrow we've got Aston Villa against Tottenham with John Kane, and then at 2 o'clock on Thursday, join myself, Russ Vernon, in the commentary position here from Football Commentary Live HQ for England against Switzerland in the UEFA Under-21 European Championship in Slovenia. So from myself and from Matt, thank you very much for listening. Just quickly run down some of the other scores. Currently Brentford 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Nottingham Forest have equalised through Kravinovic on 63 minutes there. In League One, the first game under new boss Stanley Cowley for Portsmouth. He was appointed yesterday, and his Portsmouth 1, Ipswich 1. No one opened the score for Ipswich before nearly equalised for Pompey. In Sky Bet League 2 is Newport County 0, Leyton Orient 0, and Stevenage 1, Carlisle United 0. Tom Pett with the goal for Stevenage. McDonald sent off for Carlisle United in League 2. The results from those matches, plus all of the other matches in the English and Scottish leagues this afternoon. I'll bring you all those from around about 5:15 in the build-up to our 5:30 kick-off of Everton versus Manchester City. But from myself, Russ, and from Matt, thank you. And before we actually do go, as we mentioned earlier, Peter Lorimer sadly passed away earlier on. His former teammate, Eddie Gray, was speaking earlier on this afternoon on his passing, and this is what Eddie Gray had to say on Peter Lorimer's passing.
He was a truly great player, but also he was a great man. First of all, I'd just like to say condolences to his family, his wife Susan, his boys, Simon and Jamie, and everybody that knew Peter. I mean, after I've seen Peter playing, Ibrox, 1962 for the Scottish schoolboys against England. I was a year younger than Peter, and I couldn't believe how good he was. And I thought to myself that night at Ibrox, if I want to be a player, I've got to step up to the mark, because he was truly sensational. In the same year, 1962, he made his debut for Leeds United, 15 years of age, playing alongside the great John Charles. And a long span of time, 1982, when I was manager of Leeds, I brought him back to the club to play with players like Dennis Irwin, John Sheridan, Terry Phelan, Scott Sellis, who were young lads, and they all looked up to Peter. As well as being a great player and a great goal scorer, he was a great lad.
And that's the thoughts of Eddie Gray, who played alongside Peter during his time at Leeds United. So rest in peace to Peter Lorimer. So on behalf of everyone here at Football Commentary Live, rest in peace Peter Lorimer. Our thoughts go out to Sue and his boys and everyone in his family and all those that knew him as well. From everyone here at Football Commentary Live, thank you very much for listening to this alternative commentary of Bournemouth 0, Southampton 3, and the Saints go marching on to the FA Cup semi-finals. Goodbye.